Got a car behind them and it's still rolling along. They're waiting for the car to stop. The car can't stop until you've stopped, right? Because neither me nor any other mechanic I know enjoys running 50 yards up the road to a rider. We like the rider to be right in front of the car, have their own pros and cons. But it's got to be down the end of the block for ease of change. Right? Your job is just to, as I said, be cool. Preferably off the bike completely. Maybe if it's a front wheel we can straddle the bike. But don't try balancing there on one foot. We can all balance there on one foot all day long if you have to, even with shoe plates on. But you try doing it after 80 mile of hard racing. All that you do is you have a bike flapping everywhere and a mechanic playing some game trying to get in. Off the bike, you only lose a couple of seconds getting on and off the bike.
Not like mine.
Not like yours, right? Irrespective of the quick release. I should just drop out. The mechanic then should be able to just throw that away, put the next one in, drop it straight down and in. Don't do what Nigel does and have his quick releases done up too tight. Right? The quick release on your brake, you can put back any time once you're back in the race. When the mechanic's putting the new one back in, don't hold the bike like that. Don't turn it upside down. Just hold it by itself so it's dead straight. So the wheel just goes straight in. All the mechanic wants to be able to do is locate the chain on that end sprocket, drop it in, pull it back, and do the quick release up. Right? As soon as that's done up, you should be back on the bike, right? Ready to jump back on the bike. The mechanic will then push you, feet in, you sort your gears out. Obviously, like I say, if it's rear wheel punch, you've got to be down at the end of the block. It's got to climb, the mechanic's pushing you, you change gear, you get it into the gear, so that when you're ready, you just ride away from that mechanic, trialing across it. You've got to get there.
Just at the foot of the mountain.
You know, you can spend all day going at time trial pace and you'll never see the race again. You've got to get there and then worry about staying. Right? That's when you use your teammates if it's a stage race. You get there and they protect you, they shut the gaps for you. But it's no good not putting yourself back into a winning situation. That's what you've got to do in any race. You've always got to put yourself into the winning situation. Right, ride positively. Right? You're at half a minute behind each car. You ride there, depending which way the wind's coming. It's coming from the left, you hammer down that side. It's coming from the right, you hammer down that side. They're all experienced drivers. They know exactly which way the wind's coming from. They know exactly which side you want to come through on. We'll get the occasions where you need running repairs on a bike. Right? Now, you can, as long as you're confident in your bike riding ability, you can have all sorts of running repairs done on a bike. Right? Personally, I've tightened up and relocated front brake cables on a bike. I've loosened off handlebar stems, straightened them out, tightened them up, tightened brake levers up, tightened cranks up, screwed gears in when they've got different sized blocks on a wheel. All that on the move, without losing the pace of the race. Right? The mechanic's got to work on your bike. You've got to have the bike, easier if light was smaller, up against the car. You've got to be on bottom bracket and so it's no good having your pedals that way round. This foot, leg and foot are in the way. You've got to be there. Knock that leg out against the car. Always hold on to the centre bar. You've got more control there. Brace yourself against that. You've got to be lock solid. Any work the mechanic's got to do, he's got to have something to pull against. He can't pull against you if you're waving about everywhere. So windows to work out. Right? And again, abroad it's easier. Abroad I'd have to get out of that side anyway. If I was abroad in this car and I've got out this door, I'd be thrown off the race and fined. Just hold on to it. Just hold on to it. How the 6-day riders change in the middle of a banking. You just lean. As the car leans, you just give yourself a bit of... Again, if you're just holding on, you just go out with it and come back in.
That's what I was just about to say there. It may seem crazy to you sitting there holding on to the car, but remember he part of the race. He's driving at the same speed as all the rest of the cars in the cavalcade, the same speed as the boys. He knows what to happen. He knows what's going to happen. He can hit.
Sit on the top tube and hold on to the car. You see, there's a book I've got at home. It's an old book. There's a little known rider called Eddie Merckx. He had this habit of, like, if you're halfway for a stage or a race and you think, I don't like this saddle, I want another saddle in, and the mechanics are just undo it.
23 seconds.
Nigel Mansell can do it quicker.
And so I've asked Nigel to do it again. Here it comes.
Fairly regularly. You'll come across it on the track a fair bit. Now, with a points race, of course, it doesn't really matter who actually wins the last lap, but other than having double points, which is generally often on last laps. What you've really got to watch is the numbers of the riders, the people crossing lines first, and all the other laps, and noting those numbers and calculating the number of points that they've got and the number of points that you have got. So this is the object of the exercise, to get you aware of what the other riders are doing and calculating their points. The only problem here is today it's going to be handicapped. Right? But the first 2 laps will be pointless. 3. There won't be any points offered on the first 2 laps. Now points will be in 2 places. They will be here and they will be on top of Oxo Hill as well. So it's the first 3 people over the line for each of those points. It'll be 3 points for first place, 2 points for second place, 1 point for third place. It's not for GC, by the way, it's just for this exercise, not for overall GC, so don't worry about that.
Now starting in groups according to ability. This is the second group going away. Group about 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, they're going over Paden Mountain, the bumps over Toot Hill, you know, around the Hainault Hilly course and around the Matching Green road race circuit and so on. And what we're going to do, we're going to split you into groups actually. I mean, I'll go through this again, but we're going to split you into groups. I'll give you all a little map of the area anyway. But we're going to split you into groups, and there's several other people, club folk, coming in tomorrow to lead the groups. People are not on the course, but who know the area from Essex, club folk. And they're coming in and they'll be leading the groups out. There's 3 or 4 people coming in to lead the groups out. So we'll split you into the groups and you stay in those groups. And picnic lunches will be taken somewhere at the lunch stop. We're getting picnic lunches from the halls. We'll have cars out, of course, as well. Car leading and a car at the back and a car between as well.
Do we have to stand in front of sort of like in our group when we go uphill, or can you go up at your own pace?
Well, you go at your own pace, obviously, and then regroup on the other side. Yeah, regroup on the other side. Because fortunately, several of the hills, the tops of the hills, is where you'll need to turn either left or right, so you'll have to wait because you won't know where to go.
Yeah.
Okay then, so it's Bob is going to do us a presentation on team time trialling. This is an area where we all begin to realise how important it is in view of what happened at the Olympic Games and the Team Time Trial Squad for the future, because some of you people will be potential team time trialists in World Championships for GB and Ireland, certainly Ireland because they are at the moment, and Olympic Games. So it's essential that you do learn something from this and are able to ride a good team time trial. Thank you, Bob.
You saw what happened with Chris Boardman in the Games. You can see it is possible to get Olympic golds, and one of these days we'd like that to happen with a team time trial. And that's one of the reasons why we keep on each time running you through team time trials. But the other reason is that team time trialing is at the heart, really, of all the cycling disciplines, and is right at the heart of training methods. So on the track you've got 4,000 metres, On the road you've got 100 kilometres team time trials. In road racing, what's a break? That again is a type of team time trial. And then when you go out training, doing bit and bit in small groups, there again you're doing interval training and you're doing team time trialing. So this technique is very, very important to almost everything you're going to do in cycling. Now the keys to success in team time trial are like everything else. You've got to practice a lot. But unlike most things, you've actually got to plan everything out in very great detail before you start. Smoothness is absolutely vital in team time trials, and we'll come on to that a little while later. Discipline is fundamental. You're riding in a team, you can't afford to put somebody off in the ditch or head him off round the bend. You must recognise when other people are suffering. In team time trials, you're not out to compete against each other. You may have noticed this morning in some of the things you were doing, there's a tendency to compete against each other, even when you're riding 4 up. You have to suppress that. You're out there to get all 4 of you across the line in the best shape possible through safety, planning, starting, slipstreaming, how to pace yourselves, changing and finishing. In short, all the things you go through as you're going through any of these team time trials, either on the track or on the road. Pin of the bike in front of you. That's the best way to get the fix, because you can actually see round and see the road ahead. When you're looking at the saddle pin, you've actually got your eyes on the horizon ahead. So don't look down. You've got to, as a team, have very well understood signals for when there's an obstruction, when there are cars around, when you're going to change, and we'll come on to that in a little while, other person's gear, mech and wheels. When you've got mechanical trouble, similar to when you're in a road race, you raise your arm, make sure that everybody knows exactly what's going on. All your signals have got to be absolutely clear. Gravel on corners I put as the last one there, is that I can say from my own personal experience is something that you've got to watch. There was one team time trial that I rode when I came off, and we all ended up with blood down the side of our tops, which is coming off the end of my elbow. It's a bit painful. Don't want to drive. Now on planning, you need to decide your order of how you're going to change, preferably so that people who like riding behind each other are doing that and they know each other. You've got to assess the relative strengths, so you'll never have the luxury of 4 people lining up for a team time trial in exactly the same state of fitness, particularly in slopes, but even so you've seen at national level. So you've got to decide who's strongest, who's best at what. You decide the number of revs you're going to do per turn. We've said it's an average of 30 revs on the front. You can see now how we can adjust that. If you've got somebody who's weak, you say, all right, do 28 on the front. Somebody who's stronger, do 32. And that way, if you're skillful, you can get a blend of riders who are very different in ability to cross that line all the way across the road in a straight line and all stay together. You will find that if you, for instance, go out there now and just try counting revs, it's incredibly difficult. You've got to actually practice that yourself out on the road. And you need to do that anyway, because optimum pedal revs is around 100. And when you're out on the road, you actually want to be counting your pedal revs. But still the same old thing is that your lead crank parallel to the down tube. At that angle, ready to go. That's your best leg forward, basically. Straps tight doesn't apply so much nowadays, but you'll find still on track people do use double toe straps. Make sure they're tight. Line abreast is the best way to start, but obviously you can't always do that if you're on restricted roads. If you can't do that, start off in 2 groups of 2. That's 2 and 2. Then 2 of you get together, the other 2 get together, so you've got 2 lines of 2 going up the road, then you slot in behind each other. To you, no matter what you do. Now, riding round this morning, one of the things that I was noticing is you're riding this far off wheels. Okay, if you're in a bunch in the Tour de France and you need to preserve a little bit of distance, you may ride about that far off the back wheel. But you're then in a big bunch, so you don't have the air resistance. But if you're in anything where there's a line out and there is air resistance, you must be about that far from the wheeling front. This is why you've got to have a lot of practice in riding your team time trials. You've got to get up as close as you possibly can. This one here, your hair blowing forward, you'll actually notice that happens, but unfortunately you can't do that with a crasher, because it trails in front and blows forward. A lot of effect. If you're riding a hill at 10 miles an hour, then whether you're yards away doesn't matter at all. Does that give you a rough idea? So here we're talking at sort of team time trialing speeds 25 plus. The teams that win, you see, have gone at a constant pace right the way through, whether it's 100k or whether it's on the track. So that's what wins, steady pace. You've got to think of your effect on others. If one of your team is suffering, that isn't a cause for glee and enjoyment. That's a disaster. So you've got to be sensing. He's only taking 25 turns on the front. He must be taking a bit of a hammering. And you've got to watch for people's breathing. If you hear somebody over-breathing, then you know that he's going into the anaerobic area and you've got trouble coming up because you're going to lose him straight off the back. Reluctantly, you've got a number 4, but you only lose him in the last mile in 100k, or you only lose him on the last lap if you're on the track. So this business of losing somebody in the first few miles is crazy because you're losing 25% of the power of that team combination. So the objective is, and we've only done it right once in the teams that I've worked with, is for your strongest man to die in the last mile. We had that once and he was absolutely in tears because he lost contact in the last mile. But that we've got absolutely right. I can only assume that the judgment on the day was, you mean on the track?
No, the road.
On the road.
He did the track, didn't he?
Well, when you're trying to
It was after it, wasn't it?
Right? Yes.
today, but if you're going to win the Olympic gold, it is Olympic gold in that specific event, and you have to actually concentrate on that for years ahead of time to really do that. The competition is so intense. So the objective is you go for that and nothing else. And if you go for...
As long as it can.
Depends what they're doing. Let's take when we're out training. continental style of training is you bit and bit as you come through from the back onto the front. But nowhere in 100k, when you're out for a gold medal, are you going to do that. So it's a difference between training and the real out for the gold. Any others? Or do you want to go out and have a go now?
Who's your team? 4 riders, obviously as near as equal ability as you can. Don't worry if you can't get into a team, we'll slot you in with someone. We want to try and finish with 4 riders, but 3 will count, as in normal team time trialling competition. And it's going to be over 10 laps. But in addition to that, we're going to ask you to guess your time, because this is going to be coupled with a pace judgment exercise. Remember yesterday on the training talk that Steve did about pacing, knowing how to pace yourself over a distance. So this is also going to be a pace judgment exercise combined with team time trial exercise. Okay then, so don't forget to put your chairs back, we'll get yourselves ready. 10 miles. Yes, yeah, sure, yeah, certainly, yeah.
Out in the open on the circuit, sorting themselves out into groups of 4, about to put theory into practice. Discussing tactics.
I'm going to watch.
Here are 2 likely lads. They say that size isn't everything. She's not sure which team she's going to join. I'm in the Southgate. We always used to have inter-clubs with your lot. Anyway, best of luck.
What are we going to do?
No, leave it.
Right, any more teams for the time? 29. I'll get some
We will designate one person to count the laps.
Rider number 36, where's your team? 36, 37, 38, 47.
Each team has got to make an accurate estimate of the time they're going to take over this proposed little team time trial. The winner will be the one closest to the time they say. Watches and computers have been removed, so there won't be any cheating. They've got to really guess the time. What time do you chaps reckon you'll do? 28. 28? What's the distance? 10 miles. 10 miles, I see. Tell me, what club you belong to? What club is it? Oh, the Birkenhead North End? Oh, I rode against a fella called Jack Pierce during the war with the Birkenhead North End. I don't... They're starting at half-minute intervals.
20 seconds.
Now, they're doing 10 miles, and most of the teams have opted between 26 and 29 minutes for the 10 miles. Let's see who gets the closest.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Whee! Came off the rim. Be an Irishman. Well, if he wins, we not go. Yeah, he don't care. He throws it off stuff away anywhere. He does it well too. Last one had been almost 10. You reckon that's the problem? Oh, I said. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Next team.
There they go. Let's see how quickly they get into line. No, not yet. There they go. They're riding as a team now. A little better. Oh, they're riding away, trying to beat each other. That's better. Steady start. Facing the other. There's team number. Those two little lads are getting plenty of shelter, aren't they?
About 5 hours.
The lads are very near the end of their 10-mile stint now. Head north end. Reckon they were going to do a 26. Haven't found out how near they got to that yet, but it was a good ride. Let's get a shot. Too late here. It's of the afternoon. I think I'll back it in now. Just find out who managed to win that team pursuit. They'll watch his back. Can't say I blame them.
I'll tell you.
What colour of green would you like? There's a black mark and there's a green mark and there's a...
Yeah, no, mine's black one. That's the one. Qatar. No, it's not them. Lee, what do we do? Different. Yes,
It's one of the same people actually.
Yeah, it's got.
If you'd like to come over here, I'll tell you your time so that you know where your team stood in the place judgment. Finished with 28 minutes 16, and so they were 142 out. 144 out, I beg your pardon. Team 32, they did 26 at 46. They were 144 out. Team number 33, carry number 33, they did 29.38. They were 3 for 8 seconds out. Team that carried 34, they did 25.47. So they were 1 minute 47 out. Now then, Team that carried 35, 3 seconds out.
So therefore you disqualified. Nobody could get at that game without some sort of...
No, we didn't.
There's no team number... I'll give you in the team.
Team number 36. Team number 36 did 27.27, and they were a minute and 3 seconds out. Team that carried 37 were 26.33. They were 33 seconds out. Team carried 38 did 26.12. They were 1:48 out. And the team that carried 39, they did 25.14, and they were 59 seconds out. So the winning team and the fastest team were team number who carried 35. They were riders numbers
40.
26, 33, 40 and 42. Round of applause for those, please. Bob wants to make a few observations.
Come on, Brett, you useless fart.
Go that side.
Well, well done. I understand you not only guessed the best time, you did the fastest ride, didn't you?
Yeah.
That makes it twice as good, doesn't it? Right, until Thursday. The boys are doing their touring ride in Essex tomorrow. I shan't be covering that. Arriving on their bikes this morning. They've ridden from the halls of residence. Run go yesterday.
Oh, it was excellent. It was a good experiment, and it worked very well. We're going to continue that in the future, I think.
Oh, good. Stan reckons that touring ride was a great success, but some of you blokes don't seem to be quite so sure. A bit too hard, was it? He found a few hills for you, didn't he?
Yeah. The odd one, I see.
Yeah.
The odd one.
You're the young lad that distinguished himself yesterday by using a rude word. When I introduced you as the winner of that last race, you said, "Come on, you old fart." That's right. Yes, you did.
No, it wasn't me.
I've got it on film. It was you.
I bet you it wasn't. I ain't won a race yet.
Yes, you were. In that group of 4, when you had to guess the time.
So we're just going round.
Line up, one behind the other.
Lining up for the first training exercise, I believe.
Like this, that was spoken about the other day. All of it's been training, but now I'm going to get you to roll around as a warm-up exercise for about 3 laps. And then, where one of the coaches will be standing, which will be down along the back straight somewhere, I want you to sprint from that point to this line. And then just roll around then the rest of the lap. Roll around in the resting state. Resting state. So you just put it on the little ring and just roll around to recover. You sprint where the coach will be standing to this finish point here. You may move its position occasionally, be some of you. But that's what I want you to try first of all. That's a very good form of speed training for you, and quite simple, really. But the important thing is to remember the resting period is much, much longer than the period actually doing the effort, making the effort. In this instance, it'll be about 4 times, 5 times the distance, the resting period for recovery. If you had a pulse meter, you would actually see this as evidence. Okay, any questions? Now, whilst you're stood there,
telephone call from Sally Gunnell, that we had yesterday from Dave.
She rang you?
Yeah.
Are you a big athletics person, Dave?
I've never felt so relaxed before the big race as this. Your telephone.
Yeah, can we ring her up?
Alright.
Well done.
Alright. Okay.
Stan's just quoted from Sally Gunnell, who won the gold medal only yesterday.
Yeah, now the sprints themselves, you put the gear up. Not 110 or something, or 52 by 12, but something, because your sprint's going to start just before the ramp, the little hill over there. Right?
You got another one. You got a group. So when you go round, we can put bricks and stuff. Yeah.
It's in progress. Gives me a chance to show you other parts of the Eastway circuit. There you go, sprinting up the hill towards the finish. And this is the point where the lads have been advised to start attacking up the hill. Once they get to that acute corner, they're already moving fast and have an advantage over the men that haven't thought of going early. Harder. Up, up!
Come on, up, up.
These lads to attack.
Go, come on, sprint, come on.
Wasn't a great deal of response that time. Perhaps better with the next group. 8. Now Paul will suddenly tell them to go. Here he is.
Go, come on, Jake! Go! Come on, 100%.
Well, the lads seem to be doing an individual time trial. So coming up Oxo Hill gives me a chance to film their climbing styles. That lad's really moving. I think it's the Irish boy, Grant. Yes, there's some real zip there. That one couldn't face the hill. Or perhaps he's got a... This is a little dip before they approach the hill. So they sprint to get up speed. That's how to tackle Clary's corner. Oh, this chap is not really racing.
Mind your back.
Back to the start, just in time to see the last two men off. It is a one-lap time trial, or as the lads like to call it, a prologue. That lad's just finished.
Which one? You want to go play? Yes. Okay. Look in there. No place to get paid. It's not quite nice.
You're saying that.
You'd have to throw out things to like. That's not funny. It's not. You've got all these things, right? You start sticking them in the eyes of the screen and eating them. Feeding around. Why did you do that? Get dropped. I'll have to go off in front. Then I'll get dropped. Yeah. Someone else.
Well, they're gathering for one more training exercise before lunch.
Who are we going to take up here?
Golden.
Yeah, fortunately.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Oh well.
Got 10 people blocking time too bad.
Oh, I see. That's the idea, is it?
Yeah.
Your mates are going to slow them down, eh?
Yeah, they've put them up front so they recognise them.
Yes.
No, the others got to chase us down. They got to block.
Oh, the two of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got 10 blocking for you.
Yeah, well, they block. We should stay away then.
They'll be given 10 seconds lead, and then there'll be a group chasing them. Riders in the lead. They are being chased at 20 seconds by a bunch, and some of their mates in the bunch are blocking. And they're going, well, it'll be a job to catch them because they're quite good riders. Well, here they come. Now you can see that the men up the front aren't really trying. So there go our two. Well, I think there is an attack on now. They're all in line and they mean business. That's Alan's horrible hooter. Well, our leading pair are splitting up and they're just about to be caught. Pack kicks were a success after all. It seems they stayed away and their mates managed to slow down the riders that were keen to pursue. So you can say the exercise was a success. Well, it's almost time for lunch. I should be packing in until after lunch, when I understand there is going to be a lecture.
No, someone, I think he had a puncture. My rule came off or something like that. I don't know. But it was right down there, wasn't it? Not great weight back. No, he said, come on.
Space on our feet.
They tried blocking us, right? And then I just made a pass on the hill up there.
Are a bit difficult to say the least, and you will come across problems. So all we can do at the Federation is try to help you as much as we can, with providing you with as much paperwork as we can find. First of all, the first thing you should do, I advise that you should do is at the beginning of the year, not 2 days before you're about to leave, is to get your licence endorsed. As soon as you get your licence from your registrar or from your club, is to actually send it to the office with a cheque for £2 and a passport size photograph. We'll endorse it up for you. Then if you find later in the year that you're going to go abroad, that's one less problem out the way. Okay? At the same time, or if you find that you're going to go abroad and you know where you're going to go, you know which country you're going to go, it's good to ask us for a letter of authority for you to compete in that country. Because what happens often is that to compete in certain countries, you need authority from us to say that you can race abroad and there's no problem on top of your license endorsement. So it's just a question really of a phone call or a letter, and we'll supply that within by return of post without problem. Right. A lot of the information I'm going to give you is actually in the handbook. There's a special section in the handbook this year on racing abroad, but there's no harm in repeating it. The various countries, I've listed a few down here, where you might consider racing, are Belgium, Holland, France, Spain, Italy and America. Well, I'll work through them one at a time because they've all got their own peculiarities. Of all the countries in, apart from Italy, to ride in is Belgium. Because all the foreigners keep going to Belgium and nicking all their prize money, every month they come up with a new rule and regulation to stop you racing over there. The basic thing is, as far as all we can do for you, is make sure your licence is endorsed, give you a letter of authority to compete over there, and also these days they require what they call a calendar card, which in effect is a card that the commissaire marks up to show that you can only race 3 times a week in that country. So all you do is you just ask for that when you ask, if you know you're going to Belgium, when you ask for your letter of authority, just ask for a calendar card. It's very useful to have. Divisions like us. The trouble is that whereas the BCF has a lot of control over our divisions, the French Federation has virtually no control over their regions. So you might go to one region, say Brittany, you get no problem at all with getting a ride. You go somewhere else, and they won't even look at you. I mean, so France is a bit of a. I mean, we've had all sorts of reports of people coming back and not being able to get any rides at all, and others no problem whatsoever. So France is a bit questionable. If you've got any contacts in France, it's good to use them, to establish your chances of getting a ride. If you're riding, you'll probably be able to ride for a French club, but you will get problems trying to get that sorted out. But it does take time. But hopefully, if you're going there for some time and riding for a French club, you'll have a few weeks to get things sorted out. We do our best to try and help you. We have contacts with all the regions and things, and then Hot Mountainous, for some reason, they like to keep their lira to themselves. So, if you can go to Germany and not go to Italy, or go to France and not go to Italy, go to the other country. So, unless you've got some really good contacts there, and you can guarantee a ride. America seems to be exactly the opposite. You turn up with it appears you can sort of turn up with anything in any jersey, ride for anybody, do anything with any sponsor, with it. I would advise that you have your license endorsed anyway, and you have a letter of authority from us anyway. But it appears that they're fairly lax out there. even if you're a British citizen and you haven't got a British licence, they'll give you an American one. And rode during the winter, during their summer and their winter.
What happens if you get hospitalised or something over in foreign country? Do you need any paperwork?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got insurance, travel insurance with us, all the documentation, the instructions are given as to how you claim, what paperwork you need from them. But basically, you know, if you pay any bills, get receipts. If you get anything like, if you have an accident while you're abroad, get as much information as you can, because we can. Although the accident is abroad, your third-party cover through your membership covers you should you have an accident. So therefore, get as much information as you can. Police reports, much paperwork as you can, so we can still act on your behalf if there's a problem. Sorry. I've not heard any problems. We don't get many guys going to Scandinavia. We don't get many guys going to Germany for some reason. I don't know why. It's the race. Quite good at it, yeah. Is it still got a rule in or not? I mean, I can check that. Yeah. I think it's Belgium, possibly France as well. So it's a June.
It's Friday the 7th of August and the last day at Eastway. Now, in Youth Week, Friday, the last day, is rather competitive because there are points to be won. So let's hope we get some good competition and a fine day. Friday has dawned rather grey, certainly very overcast. But there's no rain, and though rain is forecast later today, it'll arrive late in the afternoon. That's what we're told. Here's two lads warming up. There they come.
There's a nice few little exercises.
Going to have a road race, I guess.
Oh, at least one road race. The longer the better. I was thinking of going for that 40-mile individual time trial we promised them yesterday.
Yeah, that would be something.
Let's sort the men out from the boys.
Yeah.
All the men will be up here hiding.
Yeah.
This is the little cabin where it's the centre of the operations.
The ops room.
The ops room.
The ops room, that's it.
Or in most cases the oops room.
That's only where the time rolls.
Well, lads, have you enjoyed your week at Eastway?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Hey?
We like the pain bit. It's 4.5 hours left.
Yes.
4.5 hours of unadulterated suffering, I think.
We love
Still,
Oh, we love it, yeah.
when you get back, you'll go a lot faster in your club events, won't you?
it. Maybe a month later.
They usually do, you know. Yeah.
What did you do on Wednesday?
Wednesday?
Yeah.
I've been over yeah, me. So go wash your hands.
Yeah.
What's your running?
Found a way out of darkness.
wanted to just concentrate on start rolling around the circuit. You saw the team turn for last night on television.
I want to see you doing it 3.5 until you get thrown off.
Pull up quickly on the road. 3 or 4 or 5. We're up to date, the doorkeeper, don't we? Yeah. That's it. Stick another one in here. Right, go stand at the back of the broom wagon.
Yeah, echelons. Right. When you're racing, especially when you're racing the bull, right, echelons are, well, they're just the norm for racing. You go to the crosswind, you form up in echelons. Right, they'll look along the lines of this, right? Obviously the wind is coming from stick, mouth on a stick over there, so they're all lined out this way. The up line, the down line, effectively, right? Formations as well in races abroad. Right? If a team are on the attack in a crosswind like this, right, the echelon will start the width of the whole road. Right? You imagine your average road being this wide, this big, 20 riders riding in echelon, 40 riders in the back line, 20 riders in the back line, it's 40 riders with their front piece. The next group then of 40 riders have got to form their own one. Then the 40 after that. If you've got nigh on 200 riders in a race, which you get abroad, that's 5 echelons. The strong riders are in the front one, the next selection are in the second echelon, all the way back. The 5th echelon will end up the laughing group. Every echelon is gradually just draw away from each other. Hey, there's 20 riders here eliminated in one fell swoop. They'll keep doing that. Towards the end of the race, the strong riders, instead of starting the echelon over there, they'll shorten the echelon. Now there's only 4 riders in the echelon, 4 in the back line. Right? So there's only 8 riders now in that echelon. The only way you can fight your way into that is by being prepared to go up in the wind, over the top, and fight your way into the front. The whole effort you've got to make is in the wind to lengthen that echelon. And they will leave you sitting out there. They'll let you come down the line, cross to the back. What they'll have here is a nice little rider. Normally they're team sprinter if they're working as a team. We'll wait for you to come down and he'll put you into the gutter, see you out of the back again. Finished on an open road, you're evoking 16 riders finish that race. Right? That is just a small bit. I mean, obviously, you've all seen English races. It's a typical English race. Right? You get the experienced riders, set up an echelon, and all the rest of them riding along, lined out in the gutter. All the way down. Not one single one of these riders is getting any shelter. You might as well, rather than riding in the gutter, ride out in the middle of the road for the amount of shelter and protection you get. It's certainly a lot safer. You can see where you're going. You're not riding in the dirt and the potholes, risking crashing. You'll avoid getting battered into the ground. Right? You rarely see racing abroad. One line and then 20 riders down in the gutter. It's got more sense. Right? Bring a line out, start an echelon again. Right? But they'll do it from the other gutter so that the team leader, they're working round constantly coming round and up into this point. This man's the final lead-out man, he's not working. There's the sprinter, he's not working. But you're all in a safe position, you're all sheltered. This man won't hit the front to the kilometre marker. That's his job. 1 kilometre, like Ekimov does for Ludwig, absolutely flat out. This is the Benesto's job then. Control the race, dictate the pace. Right? Slow enough so you're not giving in around a hard ride, but fast enough so that people can't constantly attack. Just a nice steady tempo.
Competitive event of the morning is going to be a 5-lap time trial. We have number 1 on the line. I shan't take many push-offs. Instead, I'll go down the hill a little way and get some of the lads when they're flat out up the hill.
Come on, Mr. Timekeeper.
They can't start without a timekeeper, can they?
Voila!
It's up there on the...
You ready then, Joey?
Stop. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you get to the little kinky, that's when you're finished.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. That's it. Wait.
That's number 1 on his way.
Can't you give us a little push?
6.
So this is John Grant, Irish wonder boy. He's very good at these time trials. He's got to do 5 laps this time. That'll take the edge off his speed a bit.
No, you count. Count.
Current leader, points leader number 42 came through, so he is due any moment now. Well, there he goes. He's got to ride hard to defend his lead. That's it.
I'm a grandfather for the 2nd time today.
Woo! 2nd time today?
No, be careful. The 2nd time it was today.
Oh,
It was today. And Bob is going to talk to you about riding a good time trial. Some of you seem to ride very well, but one or two insights into perhaps riding a better time trial. Because believe me, no matter what discipline you do on the road, be it stage racing or whatever, it's desirable that you ride a very good time trial. Look at the Tour de France.
You're coming in at peak condition. I know that's a bit debatable at times, but that's what we assume. Now let's start the day before this time trial that you want to do well in. Now the day before is when you get dispute system for the day after. So on that day, you want to be eating meals which are high in carbohydrates. That's all these things like bread, pasta, and that type of thing. So that ready for the following day, all of your muscles are charged up with the glycogen supplies necessary for you to ride your race. Now the other thing you find is the day before a race, you should be sitting down as much as you possibly can. Don't stand up. You only ride about 12 to 15 miles an hour. Now I know it's difficult when everybody on the super begs you and stuff, but you have to keep that speed right down. You spin a very low gear to take place, so that you're not using energy digesting when you're riding the time trial, and you don't feel as though you've got a huge great lump in your stomach. That's the reason for eating early. Now that meal, you should eat the sort of things that you like to eat, which are easily digestible. It doesn't have any very great impact on the time trial you ride that day from a fuel point of view, but it does from the loading on your stomach. Right, now between then and the race, all you do, if you want to do anything at all, is to drink water. And that's a good idea as well to keep your hydration levels up, that we'll talk about in a minute. But no, nothing like that. The idea is that when you've finished your breakfast, that really is it.
Stan, are you organising a road race?
Well, that's what I'm endeavouring to do at the moment,
Yes.
Godfrey, but there seems to be some misinterpretation about the handicapping.
Oh, I
They're
see.
not being honest.
Oh, I see.
Giving stuff up in his mouth.
You're going to do a lap less than these. These three are going to do a lap less than you. Right, off you go then, you lot.
The three little lads you can see in the foreground are going to ride one lap less. Mile time trial, Stan.
Very good times.
Yes.
We have the leading juvenile, John Grant. He did 12:18 for 5 miles around this circuit, which is a very good ride.
Of course, yes.
On the hilly circuits.
Yeah.
Leading girl was Georgina Perchard of the Shaftesbury. She did 13 minutes 25.
That's good.
Yes. And leading junior was Brett Harwood. That's the lad from Peterborough, the Peterborough area. He
Yes.
did 12:08. So he just was 10 seconds faster than the juvenile, and the juvenile is only 14 years of age.
Yes.
This is a juvenile junior, so that's a very good effort.
Yes. What did number 42 do? He is leader on points, isn't he?
Lee Haig, he did
Yes.
12:44. So
Yes.
he was actually slower than the fastest juvenile today.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Lee is not noted as a time trialist. He's more a cyclocross and criterium
Yes.
rider. But it went very well.
And here's the leading group approaching Clary's Corner. Two chasing. Here's the main bunch. Now, this is a little group of about 7 or 8. Then a single rider trying to make contact, followed by another, and a whole string of them. I'll swing round and get them tackling Oxo Hill. There they go.
43, move up that bunch. Don't lose contact.
It's easy for the bloke in the motor car, isn't it?
Do things like that. The people who get over the top are going about 35 miles an hour while you're still doing 50.
Same little group, and they're still well away.
Come on, jump in on the brake. Now don't lose contact, stay with them. That means going like hell up the hill. Then you can rest down the other side. Make your efforts where you have to.
Flat now.
7.
That's the juveniles finishing.
Juveniles,
They're doing one lap
only!
left. I'm far behind those 2 or 3. So it's all down to the last lap. I think he's still got another lap to do. Here they come. Here's the big sprint.
That's the 5 you did.
Then have a look at the results of the time trial.
Eagerly looking at the 5 mile time trial results.
Did I beat you or not, Robbie?
The race for the juniors is still in progress, and that fast lad from Peterborough who won the 5 mile time trial is in the lead with Nigel Hay. But of course Nigel is quite a senior roadman. Oh, that was it. Nigel just coasted in, but he is a senior. Well, they've all ridden well. Quite a fast race. Yeah, the morning's racing over. It's time to put my battery on charge and go to lunch.
Where's the arrow?
You don't know where to go, to get the comic? Yeah? To get the comic, your local club, anywhere that'll do, that's affiliated with the BCCA, you get a little handbook like you do with the BCF book, and you start off from there. So how did it all start? It started about 1920 when a cycling touring club actually decided why don't we go and have a big loop around all the lanes, over the moors, and it gradually set off from there. As you know now, we now have the World Championships. We have championships for ladies if you go to Europe, so there's no sexism on the ladies' behalf. But what would you gain from it if you were a road rider? What would be your excuse for not riding it? Go on, what would be your excuse for not riding it?
Can't afford the bike.
You've got a winter bike?
No.
Why not?
Can't afford that.
Alright, what would you gain from it as a road
The money,
rider?
the sport is an expensive sport. If you ain't got the money.
Any sport is expensive.
Keeps you fit and keeps you competitive edge up during the winter.
Yeah, there's also mobility. Yeah, you're looking at diving, you keep your competitive spirit. You're also working anaerobically. You might think, oh God, it's teeing down in rain, I don't want to go out with a bike today. There's a cross a few miles away, have a go at that. You fall off, you fall off. At least you're riding your bike. Okay? 3 weeks later, he's competing at pro level, down here, and that's pictured on Clary's corner. Alright? That's only 3 weeks later, for winning the Nationals at Cross. We've also got Steve Downs, alright, from down this area, you should all know that if you're down here. Again, competing at world level, and winning stages or second in the milk race.
Yeah? Okay? And that needs no introduction at all. You've got Claudio Chiapucci. You've seen him on the tour this year. And he's riding across. He also rode at Leeds in February. So you've no excuses. You're all about the bike.
Nigel as well.
If you've got pump pegs and anything, throw it on your shoulder, which will come to later. You can have a big gash in the top of your shoulder. Okay? And move on to the cross bike as it stands now. I'll let you know, see this. We'll get on the table. Look at that. Yeah. Nice and clean. Okay? That's so that mud on boggy courses goes straight up the middle and it's out. It's not obstructing anything. Plus also the brakes are a lot easier to clean and they're a lot stronger than any brake that you've all got on here, even your Delta ones. Okay? Your handlebar end controls, you've all seen me riding around this week with them. What the hell does he ride them for? Imagine yourself hurtling down the lane at 20, 25, 30 miles an hour, whatever you're doing, bumping. You don't want to take your hands off the handlebars to change gear. You take your hands off there, you're dead. Okay? So you have them there, you can change gear while you're still keeping in control of the bike. Things back up. The best pedals to use are just your normal cheap BMX pedals, your double-sided. Okay? So if you can't get your foot in on the first time, you can't get your foot in through the front, pedal drop to the back, you've still got grip. Okay? You understand that? The wheels, nothing special really. Not for starting off. Again, you can get some good high pressure tyres which are coming around, but you'll find if you're going to go into it in a serious way, you get more selection with the tubular tyres. There's plenty of different types of tread. There's 3 on this one. You've got right along this tyre, which is like a V section. You've got big meaty knobbly for the back wheels, and you've got a fine brick tread, which you'd use at the front. You'll find that you mix your treads dependent on the weather. If it's very dry, you don't need the heavy treads like this. You can get away with a very fine mat. Okay? Which is just as good. The Alans, which is a little bit more expensive. But don't spend money on a bike until you've tried it. Okay? Many people, for your level, can actually get rather the double chainring like you do on the road with a 42 and a 48 on the outside or 46. Or you get a single one at the front of a 42 with double chain guards that protects the chain from bouncing off. On the back, you probably ride a 13 to a 28 or a 26. But what you want to do, when you go to races, all you get is, like you should any race, you take notepad and pen and jot down what the winner's got on. Check his tyre pressures, his type of tyres he's doing. No, do it, because if you don't, you'll never learn. Shoe, no laces, so the mud can, you've got the laces underneath, you put the flap over the top, and that keeps you from all getting your muddy laces when you've got cold fingers at the end and you're trying to undo the knot, okay? Underneath, you can see from that, you've got nice grip on the front for your running, you've got grip on the heel, again for the running, but we also have the plates in the shoes. Now these two here, you can actually put spikes in the back, again for muddy conditions, you know, like you do when you're playing football, and you have your football boots. Football studs just screw straight into the bottom. And maybe an hour and a quarter, hour and a half, because you don't know how far the course is from the headquarters. 9 times out of 10, it's where the headquarters are, that the course could take you 8-10 minutes to get round. Okay, you might have to change all your gears. The best place to hold it, there's no one really tall, but I'll get into that. Underneath the frame there, and you hold the end of the handlebar. The bike now is completely supported on your arm. There's no weight on your shoulder at all. Plus also, it's solid. You can't knock it off your shoulder. You'll find also that with the tactics, this enables you to move the bike. If you've got a narrow run, and you've got a fast man behind you, your teammates up the road, you need to swing it across so he can't get That's not it. Alright? Also, if you find the taller riders with the long arms, you get some holding around the top, around the front. There's also some you can actually just rest it there
But find one that's suitable. But 9 times out of 10, that's probably the best way of holding it.
The way you did before, when you had your head on the top, all the way to your shoulder.
Yeah, let's say some people can take that. If you're going to try it, you may find you'll get bruises on your first couple of occasions. Pad your shoulder out. I've even seen people, you know the BMX pads you used to get that go on your frame? You've seen people stick those there. Pipe lagging, whatever. Just a bit of padding underneath your jersey. Okay? When you go to a cross race, always take gloves and hats. Because it might be nice and sunny when you set off. By the time you get there, you could be 10 inches in snow. We've actually had that for a race where we set off in a big national event. Halfway down the course, it was nice and sunny. For the second half of the race, it was blizzard conditions. I'll put some races on for you and see how you go.
Can we get trained?
Yeah, if you've got trainers, you're probably better off in those. If you've not got, you know, for your look type pedals, if you've got normal shoes, you should just get through. Yeah, by all means. Let's say something previously.
Well, the lads are taking their bottle cages off. Best to take anything off that won't fall off.
I'm not taking my bottle cage off.
Aren't you? What are you doing then?
No, you don't. You did well in that race.
Aye.
I made it.
Just completely filled all the spokes in this paper marshal.
First bit open up and stuff, you had that method running method scanning.
If you wanted to compete or stay with any club riders that ride it regularly, you're going to have to concentrate on this aspect of it. Now there's two methods to actually get off, alright? There's one where if this foot was in the pedal, you bring it over and you get off there. Now when you do that, you're actually taking the weight onto that and then starting your step. So that's a dead leg. You've actually lost a step there. The correct method now that we've found, you bring your leg over and you bring it through on the inside. You lean the bike over to your right, you bring the pedal through on the inside. Okay, I'll show you both methods and see if you can pick out the difference. Back, and you've got to step back to get your pedal down. Okay? You all see that? You actually got to jolt the leg when you're coming through. I'll show you the other one. Bring your leg through and you into your running stride straight away. Alright? If you just want to try it, just a couple of attempts. Tom's at hand just to pick you all up.
Yeah, get it up. Is there bricks around the set? I'm joking. No.
Son, you ready for me to take them round?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a problem. There's no like one in there.
Are you going to move?
Yeah, I've got you.
Put it on a pedal.
Nah, it's going to catch you. Wait.
Great. Nigel's taking the lads down the hill, and after Clary's Corner they leave the road. He's got to show them the route. Oh, here they come. Nigel's showing them after the bridge. There's an incline which forces them to carry their bikes. Now, not racing yet, just learning the way. Stan got a little cheer as he made it up the hill. By this route, they get back to the Eastway circuit. So there they go to the finish.
Go on, Lee. And John. Come, Brett.
I hate this.
I know. Can we hit you, but we can't do anything about it?
Be careful when Don lets you. And come on a stick.
Right, up.
Hey lads, this is the hysterics group. Just aim for the mark.
Last afternoon.
Never mind. Up, up. That lad's on a mountain bike, I think. Just still flying round, not quite so fast as 10 minutes ago though. Charged down the last bit of grass before switching on to the circuit and the finish. With about 10 minutes to go. The race is over a full hour. He's leading with 1 lap to go. So it looks as if you're going to be runner-up in the points competition, eh?
Yeah, I think so. I'm
Yeah.
not sure yet. See
No,
tonight.
it's very close, yes.
Yeah.
One said you've got to ride it to the line.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Well done. Well, cyclocross is a hard old game, isn't it? Cyclocross winner, what's his name now? Adam, I think. Yes. Adam Lucas. Well done. That win should ensure that he has the week's points win. Well done, Adam. You worked hard for it, didn't you? Shouting. I shan't be going to the presentation. Somebody needs the camera at 5 o'clock and it's gone 4 already. So I must depart. Bye bye, Eastway.